Welcome back. One of the best parts about knowing so many people is getting to know a lot of people's airplanes. For example, over my right shoulder is a 1967 Piper PA-30, also known as a Twin Comanche. You know, the craziest thing, Piper makes really great airplanes. Piper no longer makes the Comanche or the Twin Comanche. And honestly, if someone's listening from Piper, here's your opportunity to bring back the Twin Comanche. Owns a $100,000 airplane, still has to sweep his own dirt. We're not rich, folks. This is just general aviation.
Piper need to make the Comanche again. Bring it back here.
We just had this conversation. One of the coolest airplanes that we have in the fleet here in Savannah is this airplane. This is a 60s vintage Twin Comanche from Piper. What year is this thing? 1967, so it's a young airplane comparatively, right? My Bonanza is a 63. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about rescuing airplanes and rescuing airplane designs. So, to effect, we're going to try to bring back the Twin Comanche.
Oh, yeah. So, just finishing up on the gear AD here, the 1,000-hour gear AD that most Comanche owners will dread. There's different ways of doing it. You can do the quick way, you just pull things out and then you will measure all your bushings, all your tolerances and replace as needed. Or you can go overboard like I did with my friend Kelly, who is meticulous in the way he works, and we took every single component out, stripped every single component down to bare metal, used Bondurite, Alodined, prepped everything and repainted. The colour doesn't match the plane right now, but this plane's getting ready for a paint job, so it'll eventually look nice with it. And now it's having brand new gear on there. We found a few issues, which were I found a cracked strut housing, which a little bit upsetting at the time, but a lot less upsetting than a collapsed gear.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Pick your poison, right?
Yeah, I'd rather find it now and replace it than it collapse when I come into land and have to buy 2 new props over my engine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, it's just adding a ton of value to the airplane, right? I see you even painted the hubcaps here.
I went.
That's actually really nice.
A bit silly. I got nice red
valve stem caps.
Put hubcaps on and made it all pretty. Painted up inside the wheel well. After giving it a damn good clean.
Dude, this looks awesome.
During this whole process, probably went through about 3 bottles of Purple Power, the Aviation Purple Power. You can get on spruce, and a lot of shock rag. Just cleaning.
I mean, from where I'm sitting, it's probably really hard to tell on the video because it's a little dark on here, but it looks like a brand new gear. It looks like you bought these off Piper yesterday. Everything's painted really nice. You did a good job masking things off. Right, the wheel wells are now painted black, which is awesome. Really pretty. I just did a 3D scan on the opposite side, and that was easy because everything's clean. Yeah, this is nice. You've done a lot of work on this airplane in what, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks worth of work in between flying and other things. Unfortunately, I still have a job where I fly a plane. That takes me.
Yeah, you start and then you got to stop and then you got to start and then I come bug you and then you got to stop and then you got to start again. But no, this is nice. Yeah, I'm just, I'm happy we're getting to show people one of the other airplanes in the fleet. It's not just my horde of airplanes, it's other things too. So hopefully I get to race you in this here pretty soon. Like next week is my goal. Prop should be back for the Bonanza.
Wait till I get unlocked to use speed mods.
We got to do a back and we got to do a baseline flight with you where we profile the airplane with what you have now. and then we truly do a back-to-back flight test. Oh, look at that.
You have taken a lot of money from me recently for some nice new mods. These are going to be attached on. Each of these apparently gives me a couple of knots.
Yeah, jeez.
I have in a box over here aileron
gap seals, right?
Rudder gap seals, which apparently is going to give me 4 to 5 mile per hour knots, and improved climb performance.
Dude.
We've got spats going on to smooth out the airflow over the gear.
Yeah. You got a lot of plans for this thing.
Yeah.
Still not going to be as fast as my Bonanza, but I'm glad that you've got a lot of plans.
Maybe if I put some turbos on the engine.
I think you'll get close. You know, the thing that you've got here, I mean, you've got dual engine redundancy, right? So that's a huge safety factor. Everyone wants to build dual time. You know, I don't feel uncomfortable flying a single engine airplane, but it's really nice to have a second engine in the mix. I'll get my multi-rating at some point. But the cabin is surprisingly comfortable in this thing too. It's a really nice cross-country traveler. So, you know, I'm just super impressed at how nice this airplane is for its age, what it's capable of, and the things that you're doing with it. So, keep up the good work. I'm sorry that your wallet is significantly lighter now than it was 2 weeks ago, but you're doing the right thing, I promise.
Yeah. The advantage of Sureflight is it's a direct replacement. It's easy. You use the old harness. It's an easy install. But you're putting all that stuff into one small unit, whereas the Electroair spreads out. You've got a coil pack. The brains you can't see right now, but they live in there in the nice dry area. And then we have on the back where the mag lives is the timing, which provides the timing to fire it. Right in here.
Oh yeah, I see that unit. Yeah.
That fires it. So what they're not having to do is put everything into
bunch it back there.
In there.
Okay.
So that allows the Electroair system to have a much hotter spark.
Yeah.
Much more power.
That makes sense. That actually, I mean, because you're not crowding that area with a magneto too, it probably helps with your cooling. I mean, you're opening things up, radiating heat can get out of it easier, right? So it's, I mean, probably a negligible impact, but I mean, it's more space. That's pretty cool.
It makes it easier to work on. I've installed both. Probably a little bit more time installing these because you have to make the harnesses, and you've got three units to mount as opposed to one.
Yeah.
But as I do my own work, labour cost wasn't a concern to me. But for someone where labour cost is a concern, then the Surefly is going to be maybe the better option to consider.
Yeah, and you might have missed the part where he's an AMP, right? He's an AMP, IA, CFI, CFII, MEI, ATP, right? So all around cool guy, but can work on his own airplanes like we all want to. So he's given the thumbs up to Electroair. He's not saying Surefly is not the best, right? Because I got one on my airplane, so by default it's great, right? Because everything I do is at least decent. But yeah, here's the Electroair module that's mounted back here to the firewall on this engine, and it's mirrored on the opposite side. How about battery power? Do these things have? Do you have to? How does it get power?
So I added 2 circuit breakers.
Yeah.
One is a direct power straight to the unit, and the other is a circuit breaker to the control units.
Okay.
So it's always getting power, and then the control unit is getting, when you turn on the Avionics, so the master, you will power the actual brains of the system as well.
Okay.
So you've got that power instantly there. So when you're starting an engine, you're not waiting for
rotation.
Rotation to burn it up. So whenever I start this, it starts straight away, because these little units here, starters, very expensive.
Yeah, so you don't want to be running that for too long, right?
And also as well, with this being a twin, I use it for a little bit training with friends and family. Part of the training is you've got to shut down an engine in the air, so you want to be able to start that engine up very quickly in the air when you need to, because
absolutely.
So that's the benefit. You've automatically got a very hot spark there. You're not waiting for the engine to turn to build up that speed.
So when you installed this thing, did you immediately notice that difference in starting? I mean, was it like a night and day difference?
You notice a big difference in starting. The biggest difference is the power. With this aircraft, when I do a short field takeoff and I hold the brakes, go full power and release them, this rockets you down the runway. It really puts you back in your seat, which it didn't before. And the big thing was the economy as well. This is down to the right engine that runs a little bit cooler. This thing I can lean down to about 5.5, 6 gallons an hour.
Holy crap.
The left engine, I'm fighting a little bit of a temperature issue. That's more about like 7.5. But it's brought the fuel flow down from 16, 17 gallons an hour.
Jeez.
Down to around about 13.
What's your useful load on this thing? I mean, you're well north of like 1,200, 1,300 pounds.
I think it's about 1,200.
Yeah.
And then with the tip tanks being added, you actually gain an extra 200 pounds of useful load.
Yeah.
But in fuel.
In fuel, okay, so, I get that. Yeah. The Bonanza's got a similar thing. Yeah. You can put on tip tanks on the Bonanza, but you get the 200-pound gross weight increase, but you don't have to use it for fuel or something like that. I'd love to have some tip tanks on the Bonanza, but.
And just talking about the Sky-Tecs as well.
Yeah.
The Sky-Tecs are awesome. I actually was doing a lesson today in another Twin Comanche, and it had one of the old starters on, which unfortunately died. The engine only has 200 hours in it, but it still had an old, very, very old starter that decided to give up today, and we're able to put one of those on. And what's great with Surefly is, with Sky-Tec, is they will help you with the troubleshooting's really good. And when one of mine failed, they've actually sent me a new one. It was slightly out of warranty on the age, but they still honoured the warranty and sent me a nice new Sky-Tec. So I'd already ordered one, unfortunately, but I now have a nice Sky-Tec on the shelf ready to go whenever.
Was that the day I flew it down to you from Savannah, or was a different unit?
Nope, that was the day. And they provided me with a nice new Sky-Tec, so I've got a spare one on the shelf.
That's kind of what we want to be. Spares every time. Whatever you can have a spare of, just keep it around, right?
Spare magneto, spare starter, spare battery. If you want to keep your plane flying, it's good to have one of everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you can.
I wish I had one of every propeller right now, but hopefully I'm getting mine back in a couple days. Oh, is that the one that restored the Concorde battery?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So that's like aviation specific. It's not
aviation
like Walmart brand.
They're not cheap. They're about $240, I believe, maybe.
Oh, jeez.
But a battery is now running, last time I checked, over $500.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So, and that's not including the cost if your battery dies or when you're away somewhere, or when you need to use the aircraft, then you've got an AOG, the battery, you've got to order it overnight from Spruce or get it. So if you look after your battery will last for years. And I've actually used this to restore a couple of batteries that were previously retired.
Yeah.
I was able to bring them back to health with this little unit here.
Does a Twin Comanche just have a single battery?
Just a single battery.
Okay, cool.
If you wanted to add electronic ignition, dual electronic ignition,
you'd have to get the backup. Yeah.
Backup battery.
Yeah, sweet. That makes sense.
Just a single battery.
At least you're saving some money and weight, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't need a second battery. The amount of draw on the Avionics is no different from any other single piston plane.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I don't have a lot of avionics in this plane right now, sadly.
Not with that attitude. I mean, we gotta speak it into existence, right? Or are we going for G3X?
Well, unfortunately, the G3X cannot be installed in a twin.
Oh no!
The G500 TXI, which is the only one that's certified for this. And then you have to go the GI275s. You can't use the
backup.
G5s because the G5s aren't certified to work with a GFC 500 in a light twin.
Oh gosh. I mean, is there a logical reason, or is it just kind of like, hey, we can't get it certified because the FAA is taking too long?
I'd Not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's one of those deals.
Or Garmin just want to sell. Garmin would prefer to sell GI275s over the
I
G5s.
bet. I bet.
There is an issue as well with if you have the G500 TXI with the G500, if you drop down on the failure modes, if you've got a G5 you'll lose your autopilot, whereas the GI275 it will still work.
That's a fair point.
Boring nerd stuff.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it kind of is. But the people that watch this channel love boring nerd stuff. I was trying to talk him into a Dynon install on this thing, but Dynon hasn't cracked the code on the autopilot yet. So that's legitimately the only thing that's stopping him from doing Dynon at this point, because he's sold, but no autopilot. So I guess he'll keep on being a Garmin guy. But yeah, very nice, dude. Well, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for showing me around the airplane. I think I was going to do a whole Twin Comanche episode, but you've gotten me on the bring back the Twin Comanche train. Definitely a better airplane, a better value than the Cessna 310, right? Definitely, 100%. I think it actually looks better than a 310. I'm not just trying to inflate his ego so he helps me with my projects. I mean that sincerely. This is a really nice airplane.
Or for someone who doesn't want to spend 30 gallons an hour on fuel.
Correct. I mean, think about it. You own a Bonanza. The next logical step is a step up into a Baron, but a Baron is sucking down 30-something gallons an hour, right? This thing is, with the Electroair ignition system, I guess, doing maybe, 12, 13, 15 gallons an hour at the most?
13 gallons an hour right now.
Yeah, on 2 engines. And 160 something knots. I think we're making a point here, and I think it's working, at least for me. Let me know what you think. Drop some comments, drop some questions. Simon actually is a follower of the channel, believe it or not. Good friend, good follower, good AMPIA. He's probably more than happy to answer some of your nibbling questions about this airplane in the comments. And I guess this is also proof that I do get my work checked by an AMP if the FAA is listening. All right, we'll catch you later. Be good to each other, and we'll see you soon.